Thanks for logging on to myfoxhurricane.com. We continue to watch Don churning out in the middle of the Atlantic. The visible satellite loop, you can certainly see the circulation, but the interesting thing is there's just not a lot of convection with this storm. Maybe a little bit here on that southern side, but most of it is actually sitting to the north and east, displaced from the center of this storm. You can really tell that when you look at the infrared satellite imagery, where we're looking at those colder cloud tops, just not much going on in the middle of this storm. Right now, it's moving to the south-southeast at 9 miles an hour. Currently, winds are at 40 miles an hour, but it is just barely holding on to that tropical storm status. Hurricane Center, they readily admit this may easily become a tropical depression once again, but it's working its way to the south. It's in an area where conditions are marginally favorable. We could see some more development, but as it works its way to the south, it'll slowly work its way into at least a little bit of warmer water. So the idea is that as we go through the next couple of days, even if it becomes a depression for a little bit of time, it will strengthen back into a tropical storm, and it'll gain a little bit more strength over the next couple of days. But then you see what happens. It does that loop. It works its way over cooler waters once again, and eventually it looks like it would weaken once again, and it's going to turn eventually towards the north and the northeast. So it just continues to do loops out here, but it looks like eventually it'll kind of scoot on towards the east. You look at the various computer models, and there you see just kind of pulling this big loop and then swinging on towards the east. Now, when we look at the Fox model, and you're looking at right here the wind speed, so we're looking at the intensity of this storm. And notice as we go through the next couple of days, here we are just starting to get a sign of maybe a little bit stronger winds as this moves into Wednesday morning. Remember, it's working its way into some of these warmer waters. That's where we look for it to start to feed off of some of that energy. And you see more and more of this. This is as we get into Friday afternoon, heading into the evening. We're seeing more and more of that and really starting to surround this storm. So this is not a well-developed system, but it is at least tapping some of that energy that will allow it to strengthen a little bit. 45, 50-mile-an-hour winds as we head into Friday. And then there it is, starting that big loop. And you notice what happens as it moves over some of those cooler waters. You don't see it just kind of wrapping all the way around as far as those winds. You're not seeing the convection and the stronger core developing with this. It looks like once again it would start to lose some of that structure as it moves over cooler waters, which obviously makes sense. Now, other than Don, there's just not much going on. You do see a lot of this dry Saharan dust working its way through the middle of the Atlantic. We have a few different tropical waves working their way from the west towards the east, but nothing of any significance right now. And we'll keep you updated right here on myfoxhurricane.com.